on the field. It's a miracle. Tennessee has pulled a miracle.
Welcome into the Feels Like 99 podcast, the home of your Tennessee Titans. I'm your host, Drake Kizer, and I am joined as always by my co-host, Caleb Waters.
Episode 14, the We Don't Have a Player with the number 14 episode right now.
We can call it the RIP Eric Weems edition.
Yeah. Man, hopefully, it'll be a receiver number that we don't know about yet.
I know. Hopefully, it'll be either a veteran that we sign or a someone that we bring in either through a trade or a draft pick or something. I mean, I hope we don't invest too highly in another receiver, considering we took 2 last year. But
yeah, I guess we'll just wait and see. But our first topic of the day. The released players.
Definitely, yeah. We brought it up briefly a second ago with we cut Mr. Weems and Matt Castle and Denoris Searcy. Those were our 3 big cuts last Friday. The day we released our last episode, all those cuts came down that afternoon, late morning, and it was kind of a breath of fresh air, I think, for everybody. How did you feel about those 3 getting out of here?
In the words of LeBron James, it's about damn time. Dude, I've been waiting ever since we signed Matt Castle. I've been waiting for him to be released.
Well, for me, it's like I saw all that I needed to see out of Matt Castle in that Dolphins game last season. Man, it was absolutely terrible. I knew his career was over at that point. And, I mean, Searcy was still a good backup, but just making too much money. And Eric Weems, we know we've done on every episode of this show how much he might be a fine person, I don't know, but his role as a player on this team just needed to go away.
Yeah, I thought, when Matt Castle played against Jacksonville 2 seasons ago, after the horrific injury to Marcus, that's when I knew he wasn't worth anything. Since we released our boy Matt Castle, Drake, if you could pick our backup quarterback, like a guy that's going to be a free agent, maybe draft a guy or even trade for a guy, who would you pick?
Well, we've definitely discussed before that I'd love for us to take Mike White from WKU in the draft. We know about that. If we're trying to trade up in the draft, I mean, me and you just talked about what if in some fantasy we ended up with like Lamar Jackson somehow. I mean, that would be perfect fit schematically, but just think he'll be worth too much, capital wise. And I've seen all tonight that we're talking about bringing in Chad Henne as our backup. That would not be my choice at all. It's ridiculous that we're even thinking about bringing him in because that's basically just Matt Castle 2.0.
You're so right. When you sit here and you think about, and I'm sure John Robinson's thinking this and Coach Vrabel, when you have a guy like Marcus who can run and throw and, do just about everything you can ask him to do, what's the point in having an unathletic pocket passer sitting behind him? When let's say Marcus gets hurt again, the whole offense has to change for one guy. But I don't know if we talked about this on last week's podcast or not. We've totally overlooked this. We did not talk about DeMarco Murray.
That's true, because he got cut. I think it was last Friday, too. I think that was all. It was like a Friday dump that they did. Like that whole thing, like where they tell all the news on Friday so no one will hear about it, maybe.
Yeah. What was your first reaction from the DeMarco Murray news?
I knew that we were going to spend this early part of the offseason trying to trade him, but just like what always happens in any sport where you're trying to trade somebody and everybody knows that they're inevitably going to get cut, why would anybody trade us for him when they know that we're going to cut him? If they want him, they'll have to give up nothing in a week to get him. So to me, it was really my takeaway from it was like, wow, just how quickly things change and how quickly running backs go from hero to zero, man. As soon as you hit 30, it's like you're 50 in running back years.
Yeah, it's like you're so right. I was reading last week. I don't know if we talked about it, but he was trying to work with the team to stay, and they turn around and they were like, "The Titans have released DeMarco Murray." I was like, "Whoa, we're done with the I got your back, you have mine."
Yeah.
This is the team that wants to win, and John Robinson has always wanted to win. He was the one who traded for DeMarco Murray in the first place. I don't even know what he gave up, but what did he give up for DeMarco?
It's just some draft picks, I'm pretty sure. That's all we gave. But they weren't high ones either. It was actually a pretty low-ball deal. Everybody was pretty impressed that we were able to get him for that. I mean, after that year with the Eagles, it looked like his career was over.
It did, and it looks the same right now.
Yeah.
So, I hope, DeMarco finds a place to play next year. And I hope he's really good because I really enjoyed watching him until, that point in the season where I was like, it's time for him to go.
Yeah.
I hate that for guys, especially with guys like DeMarco Murray, who he's a great dude. People, you could ask anybody, this guy's awesome. He'll do this and that for his teammates. He'll give the shirt off his back to somebody if they need it, and then we turn around and we release him after we've been trying to work with him, apparently. But it's a business, I guess, and I'm sure he understands that.
Well, I'm sure he understands because, I mean, obviously the Cowboys moved on from him and the Eagles were willing to move on from him too. And now it's just another team kind of under his belt. But I don't think you can understate how much of a culture change that he helped bring to our team, just because when he came here, we were a bottom of the barrel, absolutely terrible team with no running game at all. We had nothing going for us in that way. And his first season here, maybe it was the fresh legs from not getting that many carries in Philadelphia or whatever, but I mean, he had a Pro Bowl season. He was a legitimate Pro Bowl running back, like almost led the league in rushing. He had a fantastic first year here, but last year him and Derrick Henry had equal opportunity and he couldn't even break 3 or 4 yards a carry, and Henry's getting 5 yards a carry. So it just became clear, we got to move on.
In other Titans running back news, former Chiefs running back and Titans running back Dexter McCluster has been hired to coach the Ravenwood freshman football team. I read that and I was like, are you kidding me?
It just shows you that he was literally on our roster not even 2 or 3 years ago, and he's out of the league now.
Coaching a freshman football team. Have some respect for the man. He's a good NFL running back.
I know. What in the world? You can't even get a normal coaching job?
Can't be an assistant in the NFL.
It's ridiculous. Oh my gosh. But speaking of that, after all these cuts and everything, we really do. I know that we both really liked DeMarco when he was here, but it was time to move on. And part of that moving on process is the start of the league year was this week. And obviously all of these free agent signings and trades and everything have now become official. So there's been lots of stuff going on. But first, we'll focus on the Titans, of course. So lots of big moves. Some re-signings, which were nice. We got back Klein and Daquan Jones and David King. Probably going to get Spain back. The two big things to come out of this week in the beginning of free agency yesterday is Malcolm Butler and Dion Lewis making their way from New England to the Tennessee Titans. And, what are your thoughts on all of what the Titans have been doing so far?
Dude, we're doing just about everything except changing our name to the Patriots. And I love it because there's a number of reasons, dude. John Robinson and Vrabel have both firsthand been there, know what it takes, know, we need to do this, we're going to win. And they'll do it. And it's finally showing, don't get me wrong. If you ask me, and this might outrage a lot of people, and it might be very stupid to say, I think you could plug any quarterback in the Patriots system and they'd be just as good as Tom Brady. Maybe not MVP Tom Brady, but they could put up Matt Castle numbers like he did when he was in New England.
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of, the same concept with, Malcolm Butler and Dion Lewis. But I think at those positions and at quarterback too, if you can play, you can play. But if you can't play, you're going to be exposed. Something that I thought of mid-sentence, actually. We got Dion Lewis for cheaper than we would have DeMarco Murray this year. So I like it. I especially like Malcolm Butler as well. I mean, we paid him, but he deserved it, and I think he's gonna have an immediate impact. What do you think about those two guys?
Well, whenever the money came through for Dion Lewis, I'm like, that's a steal. We got him for a fantastic deal because, kind of like you're saying, even if he is going to be what you would classify as our backup running back, but that's just going to be depth chart wise. We're going to use them both a ton. He's still coming for cheaper than DeMarco Murray, and he's years younger and also better at this point in his career. So that's a great one. And Malcolm Butler, look, especially in free agency, you're always paying guys based on what they've done in the past. So, we're banking on the fact that he can get back to his form of 2 years ago and be an all-pro again. Well, I mean, he did take a little bit of a step back last season. Obviously, all of the controversy that happened in the Super Bowl with the benching and all that other stuff. But I still believe that he's a very valuable player, and I think he's going to provide an instant upgrade to our secondary because if you put a legitimate number one corner with what we've already got, now you've got 3 legitimately good corners to cover the top 3 receivers on any team. And to put that with the rest of our secondary, with Cyprien, who's not bad, and Kevin Byard, who's like a rising star in the league. I mean, that is 5 ball-hawking DBs that will shut down any kind of pass. I mean, we're going to have to do something to address our run stopping because we did lose Avery Williamson, who was probably our best run stopping linebacker. So we're banking on the fact that we're going to be able to make teams air it out and that we're going to be able to stop them airing it out. So I think our next concern probably, based on these signings especially, probably needs to go to that D-line and linebacking core because we're going to need to be able to stop the run.
Would you consider the Titans defense the Legion of Boom Part 2?
Talking DB wise, yes. I mean, that Cyprien is the only weak link I'd say at this point, and he's not even necessarily a weak link, I wouldn't say, but he's not on their level. You know what I mean?
It's like 5 stars with a 4-star.
Yeah, he's just. They're more in the upper echelon of young, especially because they're young, like rising stars. He's already established himself, so he's getting up there in age as opposed to being a rising star.
So right now, with the guys we brought in and the guys we've let go, it's kind of putting you on the spot. How many games did we win and how many games did we lose?
Well, I mean, last season we finished, 9-7?
Yes.
So should have won a lot more games than that. And I feel like we won a lot of those games in spite of coaching. And I feel like we lost a lot of those games because of coaching. So to me, with the additions by subtraction that we have in a lot of ways, I mean, getting rid of these old players that have no business being on an NFL roster, you'd feel like if we plug in players who do deserve to be on a roster, then we could get a little more production. I'm thinking guys are going to take some big leaps forward. I don't know what's going to be going on in the rest of our division because we don't know what Deshaun Watson's going to look like. Don't know what Bortles we're going to see next year. Is he going to look like he's done all of his career or like last season? You never know. And Andrew Luck I still don't think he's ever going to play again, but that's a whole nother story. But I think that we have the potential, just like we did last year, to win 11 or 12 games. But we have the floor of losing, just as many. I mean, we really do, because our division could be the toughest in football, or again, it could go back to being one of the worst. I mean, the NFL is probably the most variable league season to season that there is.
So what are you saying, 12-4?
I'd say that's my just overly optimistic, we just signed good players prediction. Yeah.
I would give us, I'll set my number at 12.5.
Yeah.
Just because our schedule is pretty good, but at the same time, it's kind of like with the schedule we had this past season, we should have won 15.
I know, but my only hope this season though is that the games that should be tougher on paper seem like they're all at home, so that should help.
Yes, and something I also considered before saying 12.5 wins is we have a true offensive coordinator, a real one.
Yeah.
And you know what else? Got a little video from the Titans this afternoon. You want to tell them about it?
We've actually gotten 2 really good videos this week from the Titans that The one you're referencing is about the workouts going on out in California with our wide receivers and Marcus. And I think everybody is buzzing about those because that, I think, is the area where we need to see the biggest improvement this season. Is that receiving core has got to get on the map. And we've been talking a lot about Tajay Sharp on this show, and it looks like, to me, it's very encouraging to me that he's in that group of guys, even though he hasn't played in a year, because, man, he's got to get on the same page. And it looks like that group of guys, which, if the listeners haven't seen it, it was Corey Davis, Tajay Sharp, Jonnu Smith, Rashard Matthews, and Taywan Taylor. So basically our entire receiving core and our young tight end. So that's got to be encouraging to any Titans fan. Don't you agree?
Absolutely. And the fact that they had a dude out there filming it. At first, I saw a picture of the guys. Like, hey, look at us. Then I saw the video, and God's Plan by Drake in the background. Anybody that's met, me or Drake knows that Drake, the rapper, not my co-host, is the boy. I know as soon as I saw it, I sent it to you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was. I was so happy to see that, because that's such good social media marketing and everything like that. Like, if you can put something out like that, it gets people buzzing. It's good. It's positive. It makes everybody look good. And when the content of the video is actually good, I saw, you can only judge so much in t-shirt and shorts, but man, they're catching balls, and it looked like Mariota was in such good chemistry with all of them. Like, if any of that translates to the field this season, then we're going to be seeing a much different offense.
It makes me wonder, when was the last time you saw something like that from the Titans?
That's the thing. I've heard of maybe one or two guys would go work out together or something, but I just remember back in the day, it was always, Chris Johnson doesn't come to camp until a day before it starts. Like, he hasn't seen any of his teammates in 6 months and all this other stuff. Like, I've never seen a group of guys on our team that are banded together like this.
Me either, and it really got me going. Like, I was like, let's kick off right now.
Yeah.
I'm ready to go. It's really, really encouraging too to see Jonnu Smith.
Yes.
After I'm not entirely sure what exactly happened, but something that Drake and I specifically talked about, Marcus's beard.
Yes, he is. He's looking good. We love us some Marcus on this show, and it's so funny because he says that he hates the facial hair on himself. Like, he always wants to shave and whatever. Man, he was like a mature, grizzled starter with that beard going.
Yes, I'm gonna pull up the picture and look at it right now. Actually, I've got it saved on my phone. All the guys, he's got it. I've never seen it in his 3 years of the Titans. I've never seen it get that long. So it looks like he's ready to roll. He's still got the little nice clean cut on his head, but
he looks grizzled. And one thing that was encouraging to me too was the Titans posted that on Instagram, and then Logan Ryan posted a comment saying that the DBs are also doing the same thing in Nashville. He tagged himself, Kevin Byard, Cyprien, Ty Smith, Curtis Riley, LaShawn Sims, and interestingly, he also tagged Malcolm Butler in that post as well. So it looks like that the DBs are getting in on this, co-workout action. And I don't know if you've seen, but I follow Derrick Henry, and man, he's looking like a beast in the gym.
Dude, he posts videos every day of incredible amounts of weight. Does he not get sore?
This is every day. We're talking Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. It is every day, and he talk about looks ready to kick off the season. It looks like he could put on pads and play tomorrow.
Dude, I'm sitting there smiling, I'm so ready. And dude, it makes me wonder if these guys are all right, let's go. Or do you think maybe Vrabel and LaFleur and Pease were hey, this would be a good idea?
See, you never know whether it's, the coaches always like to spin it somebody, started this initiative, and then all the other players kind of followed suit. You never really know. All I do know is that Mariota was already working out in LA by himself. I think he was just doing his normal preparation, kind of for the off season. And I think it kind of started with him and Matthews was probably the two that really, really started it. And it looked like all the younger guys kind of all banded together and were like, all right. Because I had seen the same thing. Tajay Sharp within the past month or so before this looked like he'd really been like back on the field, back in the gym, running routes and catching balls again. And I was just so encouraged to see him out there with the guys. That's probably the biggest takeaway from it all for me.
Yeah, dude, I just it was encouraging to see, don't get me wrong, if they were, at the Titans facility doing it, that's cool. That's good to see. But they're in LA getting together. That takes some serious planning. And I don't think a lot of people know about the DBs doing that every day. But if you haven't followed Derrick Henry, you definitely need to follow him on Instagram. He posts it every day. It does big boy weight and
you will be very impressed to follow him. That's definitely for sure. If you see the stuff that he does, you'll understand why that he is in the position that he's in, as far as a rising star in the NFL. But one thing I do feel like we probably should touch on is Avery Williamson, the former Titans linebacker now, making his way to the New York Jets in free agency. It looks like he's going to be the only really big key free agent that the Titans will lose. Not really counting Eric Decker because I don't really know that there's much of a market for him here or anywhere. So basically, Avery Williamson, the story is we offered him something in the $3 to $4 million per year range, and he declined. And I have not seen the exact details of the deal with the Jets, but I honestly don't think it was for much more. It just seemed like he was ready to get out of Nashville for whatever reason.
They gave him 3 years, $22.5 million. So,
how much of that's guaranteed?
16.
So really, he's making about, with guaranteed money divided by 3 years is only $5 million. So he's only making a couple million more than we offered.
And it's like we talked about, before, we started the actual live portion of the show. Dudes only care about money anymore.
I know, it's really disappointing because he was literally born and raised in the state of Tennessee, played at Kentucky. It was a huge dream come true for him to get to play for his home state team, and then he goes. And I'm like, I understand if we didn't offer him at all, or if we just totally gave him some stupid number like, we'll give you $500,000 or something. But, I mean, I'm sure that the contract that we gave him was relatively close, and especially with incentives and stuff, you could have made just about the same thing, and now you're going to the Jets. They're terrible.
A freaking team that was predicted to win 0 games last year. Come on, dude.
I wish him nothing but the best. I mean, I liked watching him when he was here, but it's disappointing when guys leave like that, especially ones that you would have liked to see stay around, but probably the other big news, like I said, we mentioned a little bit about the other video content that was big this week on Titan social media, and it was the little uniform teaser, the first edition. And, it was a short little kind of video clip, but there was actually quite a lot to be seen. And you want to give us a few details of kind of what you took away the most from that?
Let me pull up the picture really quick, some screenshots of it, so I can say exactly what was in it, because I don't want to be telling y'all the wrong stuff, because yes, it does matter. Okay, so there's these 4 pictures floating around. So the two-tone blue, it appears as if it's stained. The numbers definitely look a little bit chiseled, I guess, like more of a Greek font, There is a red Nike swoosh on something. It's either white pants or a white jersey. I don't know. Then we have the Titans word mark, which it looks the same, I think, except it's got it's light. It's on the navy blue jersey, so there's definitely a navy blue jersey that we have. It's the letters are like the same word mark, except instead of the letters being white and silver, they're baby blue and white. And then there's another picture that I specifically sent to Drake. It's the same picture angle as the two-tone blue, but it's blue and gray. So I don't know. I'm so excited to see it. I can't wait. And something else that Drake and I specifically talked about was no new shots of the helmet.
Yeah. I think I think they had to put the red swoosh screenshot picture video part in there because just to get everybody buzzing about the red. But you can tell from the video, at least what they've shown anyway, that definitely two-tone blue is still predominantly what our jerseys and word marks and everything are going to be. So that's a promising development. But like you said, looks like there is definitely going to be some gray somewhere. And I don't know if you've seen that logo that was floating around. It looked like it had been just installed on the floor of like a training room or something. It was pretty much the same logo, but it was just slightly altered color-wise. I don't know if that really means anything or not.
Not. That's been on the floor for, I think, 3 years now. So
It didn't seem like that was legit.
No one should read anything into that, if you ask me. I don't think
it really should either. The only thing that really people should be buying into is that we just installed a $1 million thing up above our locker room with the normal Titans logo on it.
Yeah.
So, but like you were saying, the new helmets, that's definitely still up in the air. Like the jerseys and what they've shown us so far doesn't really give you anything to read into about what are these helmets going to look like.
I'm so excited. I cannot wait. I just wish, and this would take away from the Titans' big party downtown that they're going to be having. I need some sort of leak. I need something. I don't know. I'm tired of looking at Reddit mock-ups.
Yeah.
But I'm very curious about this gray. It's not like a steel gray either. It's like I don't know. What would you consider it?
I'd almost consider it more like it's not even like that smoky gray either. It's almost like slate, almost like a pencil lead almost looking type of gray. It
literally looks like a pencil, like shaded it in. So.
Yeah. It's kind of almost like a sword or something. Like maybe that's what they're going for. It's kind of like armor kind of thing.
Maybe we got a little something special coming.
Yeah, I mean, the helmets, based on rumor, speculation, I've heard a lot about the whole, they look like helmets, but they're like battle scarred type helmets. Like they're like silver and they look like they've been beat up with black or whatever. I think that'd be kind of cheesy, especially in the NFL. Hopefully it's not anything like that. Honestly, I wouldn't be too worried if it was pretty much like our ones now, but with just updated striping, I think is one thing that really needs to be changed.
Do you think there'll be any chrome in the new sets?
That's what I'm thinking. I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, our helmet right now is basically just white and navy, and it's got two logos on it and a stripe. So I don't know, unless they change the body color of the actual helmet. I'm like, I don't know where chrome would fit because we can't really do chrome face masks because the Bucks just did that. Like that'd kind of be cheap to bum off them. But I mean, I guess we could. But
I would like the same base white helmet, but something that we don't have a lot of. If our listeners have ever seen a college football helmet up close, they have a lot of like glitter flakes in them.
Yes.
We should amplify that and put a ton in there. And then around the edges of the mold of the helmet, just toss a little bit of chrome on there. I think that would look, and you could leave all the normal, the helmet stickers and stripes, you could leave it all. I think that'd look really nice.
Yeah, even just kind of sprucing it up a little bit. Just like you said, college football helmets do that a lot, especially white helmets. Like they do. It's almost like they sparkle almost. Like it really, really pops. Like I know Oregon wore some like those just maybe even last year, a couple years ago, and up close they were just really nice looking. I mean, they just look white, but man, it was just vibrant.
So what I've gathered from all the information that you and I have been sending back and forth, it's more of a uniform renovation, I guess, instead of a complete rebrand like we were originally thinking. So
yeah, I think that's kind of the point of the tagline, like tradition evolved or whatever. Like it's not a overhaul or a rebrand or anything like that. I'd more call it, just like it said, just an evolution. Like we're taking what we've already got and just working with it forward. I really think like we've talked about this before. I think we looked at the Lions and the Dolphins both as kind of inspiration of they didn't change everything. They keyed in on a few things, changed a few things, and then just rolled on pretty much as per usual.
I could watch the video over and over and over.
Well, because every time I watch it, I'll see something new. Every time I watch it, I'll be like, "Oh, I didn't catch that last time."
I'm so excited. I really am, and I know Drake is too.
I'm curious to see. It's not even a month away now. Like it is.
It's basically like 2 or 3 weeks away.
Yeah, basically, as soon as we get back up to school, it'll only be about 2 weeks before that weekend or whatever that it's going to be on.
It'll be everywhere too.
Yeah, it's going to be a huge deal. I know Florida Georgia Line is going to be like, performing a free concert and all this other stuff. Like, it's going to be a big event. I think a lot of people are going to be really happy with, the turnout for the event. I think it's going to be a huge deal, and I just hope that that the actual uniforms themselves are worth going crazy over.
Is there anything else we've failed to mention?
I really think we've covered it all. I mean, we're right in the middle of free agency right now, so we got to preface this by saying we're recording on Wednesday night. So if some huge breaking news with the Titans or something happens between, Wednesday night and Friday, I don't think so, other than we probably really are going to sign Chad Henne. But other than that, hopefully nothing happens, that we don't get a chance to talk about until the next week. But, I think we've covered everything that's happened so far. And I definitely think it's safe to say that we're both very excited looking forward to next season.
Now, if anything crazy happens, we might have to call an emergency recording. But like Drake said, very, very unlikely. So I guess we'll see. Y'all leave Drake alone on Twitter too. He's been really busy lately, so y'all leave him alone. But well, I guess we will see you guys next week. Always remember, stay based. You've been listening to the Feels Like 99 podcast with Drake Kizer and Caleb Waters. You can find the podcast on Twitter at Feels Like 99 Pod. You can find the Feels Like 99 podcast on our new website, feelslike99.wordpress.com. And you can find just about everything you need there. You can find the archives of the Feels Like 99 podcast on YouTube. If you search Feels Like 99 podcast, you can subscribe by hitting the subscribe button. You can find my co-host, Drake Kizer, on Twitter at DrakeKizer_. You can find myself on Twitter at CalebWaters_14. Tell a friend about the Feels Like 99 podcast. Could be a friend, girlfriend, boyfriend, Titans fan, Jags fan. Could be any of them, We talk about more than just the Titans. We talk about it all on the Feels Like 99 podcast. It's a podcast for everybody, guys. So, I'm signing off for myself and my co-host, Drake Kizer. This is Caleb.
Thanks, ugly guy. Thanks, ugly guy. Thanks, ugly guy. Thanks, ugly guy.
I don't even remember how to close this out.